Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Dean. Thanks so much for
Rachel,
having me.
you're very welcome. Episode 176, the beginning of season 8, which will be the last season we record for quite a while.
Great.
So awesome. Tell folks a little bit about you, and then I have three hypothetical situations that I'm going to walk you through.
Great. Well, thanks so much for having me here. It's really a pleasure. I'm Rachel Present, and I am a fractional chief marketing officer. I work for myself, and I grew up in the Israeli-American tech scene. So Tel Aviv has a really vibrant, amazing tech universe. Yeah. And I started in high-tech marketing there a little more than a decade ago. And I have worked for companies big and small, being employee number 3 and employee number 30,000. So I have a lot of experience working mostly in B2B and B2 SMB. So I've sold to big businesses and small businesses. And my passion and what I really focus on within my fractional practice is helping companies to solve problems. So the marketing isn't working. They're getting people to the landing page, but they're not converting. Their email isn't working. They're not sure why their mix of channels isn't playing out the way that they would like it to, and also launching new products. So I've worked with clients on new products that are going to market for the first time, figuring out their whole go-to-market plan, as well as launching that plan. I have a strong bench of people I work with on an ongoing basis to really drive world-class results for everybody I work with.
All right, excellent. Okay, so here's scenario number 1. Okay, a lot of us, most of us have clients, and we all have clients, and most of our clients are virtual. But in this scenario, this client's only 5 minutes from your home. So you've just signed on as fractional CMO with a brand new client. Okay, brand new engagement. Today's day 1, and you're going to go actually be on site, at least for day 1. When you walk in, 9 a.m. Monday morning, day 1, what's the dream scenario that you're walking into as a fractional CMO, and what's the nightmare?
What's the dream scenario to walk into as a fractional CMO? That's a great question. I would say the most important thing, besides good coffee, if it's 5 minutes from my house, would be the people. So if I walk into a team or an office or a meeting, whatever it is, whether it's online or in person, and the people are excited for me to be there, that's the biggest sign that we're going to succeed, because everyone is aligned about the excitement. Bringing in a fractional CMO like myself means that there's going to be change happening. We're going to be taking a close look at what's going on, figuring out what's not working, and making changes. And if the team is excited about those changes, it's far more likely to succeed. So I would say the best thing is if people are happy to see me. And I would say the worst sign, if I'm starting with a new client as fractional CMO, is if the team is not aligned. So if only the executive suite is bringing me in and the marketing team doesn't think there's anything wrong, or if a beloved marketing leader has just been fired to make space for me, that's a sign that things are not going to go well for anybody. And that is what I try to run from as quickly as I possibly can.
And then here's the next and last of the 2 questions around this scenario. Okay. After you've been there for, let's say, 3 months, okay, what is the aha moment for your client where they realize, wow, I did not realize that it would take this much work, or she would have to do all of that to get us, to get where we are right now? What do clients underestimate about how long or how much work something takes?
Sure. So when I start working with a client, my goal is to see really solid results and for the client to see those results within the first 30 days. So literally when I start on day 1 with a client, I'm going to schedule 30 days out for us to have a session where I'm going to present my findings and my plan and get the client aligned. So that's really, if you're wondering what the first sort of aha moment is when I'm working with a client, it usually comes by the 30-day mark, if not before, when we're having that session, making sure that we're aligned and figuring out how we're going to move forward. I would say clients are generally surprised by how much work goes into things, both from the side of what's complicated and from the side of what's not complicated. So it can literally be as simple as changing the formatting on your images or using new images, or it can be as complex as needing to bring in a firm to do paid search and onboard them, or move to a different CRM, bring in a marketing operations tool. It really varies across the spectrum of marketing. But the key point for me is that I bring value to my clients in a way that's really clear and concrete within 30 days, if not before.
Excellent. Okay. So let's switch to a different scenario. You're on stage. You're the keynote speaker. There's 250 people in the audience. Today's Tuesday in this scenario, and yesterday, Monday, they all left corporate and became fractional CMOs. 250 brand new, unsuspecting fractional CMOs. Okay, we're going to go through like 3 parts of your speech and just fill in with whatever it takes to explain and finish the thought. Okay, so the first thing you say to them is like, as new fractional CMOs, welcome, I guess. But the thing that's going to shock you the most about being a fractional CMO is?
I would say the thing that's going to shock you the most about being a fractional CMO is that you are your own boss, but you're also not. You're still working for clients. So it's different in the sense that you're probably not punching a clock. I won't report hours, for instance, but it's the same in that you're still going to have deadlines. And so don't sort of have images of yourself being free as a bird or not working, because as a fractional CMO, you're probably going to work as hard or harder than you did before. It's just going to be on your own terms.
All right. And then what about this one? Many clients, you're talking to this audience, many of your clients just don't understand what?
If I were talking to an audience of fractional CMOs, I would say many of your clients don't understand how complex marketing is today. Sending an email is something anybody can do, but sending a good email series or creating an abandoned cart nurture flow or other nurture flows, or figuring out why a website isn't converting, or why your paid advertising isn't working,
right,
or why your average order size or your customer lifetime value isn't where you want it to be. These are complex topics, and often clients don't understand how interconnected they are. So it's not like your email not working is one problem and your social not working is a different problem. It's all part of the same problem, which might connect back to your product having certain issues. And that's where my product marketing background in particular comes in handy, in the sense that I can work really well cross-functionally with different teams, but clients don't always understand how critical it is to have a wide variety of skills in a fractional CMO.
Right on. All right. So you're at the end of your speech. Some intern is trying to signal you to get off the stage. Got to keep things moving. But you're determined that you're going to not leave until you say one more thing. And it's like, look, if I could give you one lesson about getting clients, here it is.
If I could give you one lesson about getting clients, that lesson, the most important thing about finding clients is remembering to audition those clients. So when you find them and you get them, and the key to that really is going to be niching down, figuring out who it is that you serve, and making sure that you're able to serve them as well as possible, and really focusing on the areas where you can make a difference. In addition to that, you just really want to make sure that you're working with the right clients. So as much as a client is going to interview you, you're going to interview your clients to make sure that they're people who are going to benefit from your services and people who you can actually help. You never want to take on a client you're not sure you can help.
Right. All right. Cool. All right. So scenario number 3, there's a big conference or convention, lots of, fractional CMOs and lots of potential customers in this big convention hall. And you're wandering around on the floor like everyone else. You're talking to prospective clients. So the next few questions are going to be about meeting these prospective clients. Okay. When these companies talk to you about their marketing needs and what they think maybe should be done on the marketing side, what do they tend to overrate and what do they tend to underrate about marketing when they're talking to you?
The question of what clients and what companies tend to over and underrate about marketing is a little bit tricky because it varies so much by client. But I would say in general, clients tend to underrate the importance of a network of people. So if they're bringing in a fractional CMO, one of the best things that that person is going to be able to do is tap their network to amplify their efforts. I'll give you an example. One client that I'm working with right now brought in a new agency that I suggested right at the start of our working together. And at least once a week, the client says to me, this agency is amazing. I didn't know that it could be like this. They're doing such great work, and they didn't realize the importance of having the right partner. And so I would say that's probably the key thing that clients underestimate is the importance of having a strong bench when you're hiring a fractional CMO. I would say the thing that they probably overestimate would be the importance of all channel knowledge or of specific channel knowledge. So I don't do paid ads myself. I'm never going to put your paid ads into practice. I've done it. It's not my area of expertise, but I know great people who can do that for you. And if you back away from hiring the right fractional CMO because they're not going to do the hands-on work, you're going to really make a mistake, because what a fractional CMO is sort of the puppet master more than the puppets themselves. So they're going to find you the right people and manage those people. You don't need them to have that hands-on execution.
All right. So how about this then? This is either, by the way, going to be the easiest or hardest question in the entire podcast. And so, Rachel, what's marketing?
What's marketing is the ultimate question, right? Because if we can't answer that, what are we doing? It's also, I think it is the hardest question. Every time I talk to friends who are in marketing, to colleagues, we all say we're great at marketing, except when it comes to ourselves. So that's sort of, I guess they say like the cobbler's children go without shoes. I would say marketing really at its core, when it's done well, is about helping people find what they need. And I say that very deliberately because marketing is about people and it's about helping them. And it sort of gets a bad rap that you're trying to sell something to people who don't need it or to people who don't want it. But the reality is that marketing done well is effectively telling your story to people who need your product. So when you're launching a new product, a new app, or a new piece of software, you need to find the people who need that software. And marketing is about sharing what you can do for them with them. So it's about helping your customers find you, and it's about helping you find your customers. And it's your story.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wind this down. You're talking to these prospective clients, right? And company after company after company. What's a red flag when you're talking to a potential customer? And what's a green flag when you're talking to a potential customer?
That's a great question. It's been a long time since I was in the dating game, but I do understand that red flags and green flags are the currency of today.
Yeah.
I would say when I'm talking to a prospective customer, the biggest red flag for me is going to be if they are overly concerned about money. Because the reality is a fractional CMO will save you money when compared to, say, a full-time CMO.
Right.
But a fractional CMO is not a way to cost cut if done well, because they're going to bring in people who are going to do work, which is going to cost money. And that work is going to be highly effective. And the fractional CMO is going to drive real value for your business. You should be able to see that revenue fairly quickly. But an excessive focus on the dollars that they're going to pay me is going to be a red flag for me. I know that the value that I bring to customers is many, many times what I charge. And if they don't know that, we're probably not going to be a good fit.
What's a green flag then?
To understand the role of a fractional CMO. I do leadership and strategy. I can jump in and do execution. I've written more emails than I'd like to admit to.
Me too.
But on an ongoing basis, I don't do the execution. So I'm going to bring in people who are going to do the writing. I'm going to bring in people who are going to launch the campaigns. I'm going to bring in people who are going to project manage. And I'm going to make sure that it all gets done at the highest possible level. So that's really, I would say, the red flag is people who don't understand that. And the green flag for me is teams that are excited for change. They understand what needs to be happening. They're very excited about having the potential to bring on world-class talent that's not full-time. So I spoke to a client recently who is working on launching a new product, and they really want world-class talent to help them do that. They also don't need to bring in a team of full-time world-class people. And so for them, a fractional CMO is the perfect way to do what they're looking to do. And that's a strong green flag for me, that they understand that they're going to be getting great talent at a fractional price and at a fractional service rate, and that they're excited about doing that and really making change within the organization.
And so final question before we wind down. So as you're on this sort of convention floor, you end up talking, at a table or something with the CEO of a company, right? Like, for your other fractional CMOs and for the people who are watching, right? What's a good question for a fractional CMO to ask a CEO that they end up standing next to and chatting with?
Honestly, I think a fractional CMO needs to start by just asking the CEO where they are and where they'd like to be, because you need to get an understanding of that gap. And by asking them where they are and where they'd like to be, they're likely to explain to you what's holding them back and why they're not able to close that gap right now. And that's where the magic is, because that's where you can understand if you have a role to play. If I have a client who wants to grow 10x within the next year, but their product is not yet available for users, that's a big problem. That's not something a fractional CMO can solve. Right. If I have a company that's in complete disarray and there's a really terrible culture and employees don't believe in the leadership and the product is lousy and there's no product market fit, that's not something that I'm going to be able to fix. If the CEO answers and says, we have this great product, our customers are really happy, but they're not coming back to us. Why are we seeing them come in the front door and go out the back? Or we have people coming to our website, but they're not converting. We're really having trouble figuring out our conversions. We don't understand what's happening. Or we have this great product, we're just not sure what to do with it. Here's what we're thinking. Those are conversations that I am excited about. And those are the conversations that I would encourage other fractional CMOs to have, to figure out that gap between where the company is now and where they'd like to be. Because for the ideal fractional CMO, that's the gap that you're going to fill. You're going to take your customers from where they are now to where they want to be.
Right on. All right. So who should be reaching out to you these days, and how should they get in touch with you?
These days, I'm working mostly with clients who are either in Israeli Americans who might be looking to get into the American market, Israeli startups. I'm fully bilingual. I speak Hebrew, so I can take meetings in either language. And I'm based in the US, so I have the advantage of being on the ground here, having spent about 15 years in Tel Aviv. The main people who should reach out to me at this point would be CEOs of startups who are looking to launch a new product or to bring their product to the US generally, or companies where things aren't working. So they're trying to figure out why things have gone wrong. I sort of view my role as fractional CMO as something of a detective. So I'm trying to figure out why things aren't working and then how to fix them. And that's really what I love about my job and the opportunity that I have to work with such a diverse variety of clients. I would also note that my availability is fairly limited at this point. So if customers can reach out a couple of months before they might want to start working together, that's probably best for everybody.
Right. And they go to your website?
And the best way to reach me is via my website, rachelpresent.com, or they can email me at rachel@rachelpresent.com.
All right. Rachel, thank you so much. This has been great.
Thanks you,
for
Dean.
doing
really
episode 176. Crazy.
Thanks so much.
All right. See you. Thanks, everyone.